Hey, welcome back everyone to the Black Brain Trust. This is Economics episode 108. I'm here with my co-facilitator, Lionel.
Hello everyone, how you doing? How you doing today, Mike?
I'm good, brother. Yourself?
I'm good.
All right. We're going to get started right away. For those who want to follow along, the docket is in the description beneath the video. And just as a note to everyone else who are listening that we are not certified financial planners. If you want a certified financial planner, go to cfp.net.
Yes, indeed. Excuse me.
All right, first article. CNBC.com, 23% of workers have quit a job because of this, and it's not salary or time off. This would be interesting. American workers are quitting at the highest rate since 2001, according to the Job Openings and Labor Turnover Survey from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. 2.4% of the workforce quit in September, and 2.3% quit in October. Today, roughly 3.5 million Americans quit their jobs every month. One major reason one major reason that so many workers are voluntarily leaving their jobs is because in the current tight labor market, the easiest way for workers to get a raise is to get a new job. For many, it's a smart move as there's a clear advantage to increasing your earning potential by switching jobs. Andrew Chamberlain, chief economist of Glassdoor, tells CNBC, make it. But there are many other reasons that workers are willing to pack up their cubicles, among them painful commutes. Human resources consulting firm Robert Half surveyed over 2,800 Americans across 28 major U.S. cities and found that 23% of the workers have quit a job because of a bad commute. Chicago had the largest number of workers who said they had left a job because of a bad commute, followed by Miami, New York, and San Francisco. Men were likely Men were more likely than women to indicate that they have quit because of their commute, with 28% of men saying yes, compared to just about 20% of women. Age also had a significant impact on a worker's likelihood of quitting because of their commute. Over a third, 34%, of respondents between the ages of 18 and 34 said they have quit a job because of the commute, while 24% of those between 35 and 54 have, and just 12% of those over the age of 55 have. This is a very long article. Well, not that long, but I think the gist of it is that key indicators. Lino, you have anything you want to add to this?
Yes, the first reason as to why people quit their jobs, I think the age between the ages of more than likely the first reason between the ages of 18 and 34 was to get a higher pay. And the person who wrote the article was saying that I think Abigail Hess was saying that because of this tight job market, you're better off if you want a higher pay, you're job and get another job. Interesting to look at, I would say. But the main reason as to why 23% of Americans quit their job is because of traffic. And they broke the numbers down. They were saying that Americans that went to work in the 1990s stayed a total of 22 minutes in traffic compared to now, which is 26. But those 4 minutes of traffic over, I think, a year period, though, no, actually, 8 extra minutes of traffic, both coming and going from work, as to over the course of a year, 1 week extra of work. That's interesting to look at. I would not have broke those calculations down like that myself. So traveling to work, depending on where you live, how far you have to go, the constant um, thought of being stuck in traffic, that can wear down on you after some time. And per this study, they're saying people saying they had enough of it and they are quitting because of that.
Yeah, that I think traffic is a significant justification for actually leaving, right? But how you get treated in the workplace also contributes to your willingness to tolerate traffic. Because if it's a nice place to work, you might be willing to put up with a little bit, 10 to 15 minutes extra in traffic. Um, and most of the places I've worked at in startup, a lot of those places are fun to work at, right? That is, you have hoverboards, you have arcade games, you have Xboxes, you have ping pong tables, beer on tap, wine on tap, or I should say wine on tap, but wine cabinets there. Um, they do outing events. A lot of your traditional corporate Fortune 500 corporations, they are very strict. It's a very strict workplace environment. You have to dress up every day. Friday or every other Friday might be dressed down and things of that nature. That really wears you out. It's a mental wearness. So, but yeah, I can see why salary increase would be the justification to leave any place. I've done it many times. So another thing to take into consideration would be having to be tethered to your work device. So your phone, checking emails while you're still at home and things of that nature. That's still work, even after you leave the office.
Hmm.
They don't really account that as extra hours of work, right? So if they had to take those numbers and actually correlate it, then it would come out to be overtime if for hourly paid person. So
And another thing they pointed out in an article was how, because it's such a competitive job market,
mhm.
putting on the table uh, work from home and other amenities to hire people.
Yeah, I like working from home. I mean, I have no problem with that. Um, as long as I don't have to work past my allotted time, I'm good.
Cool. Interesting.
All right, we'll move on to the next article. All right, this one is from FoxNews.com. Betsy DeVos cancels $150 million of student loan debt after losing court battle. The Department of Education said it will cancel $150 million of student loan debt, impacting about 15,000 people whose schools closed. The Obama era the Obama era borrower defense relief program, which essentially ground to halt under Education Secretary Betsy DeVos, provided a path for people to seek forgiveness for federal student loans if they shuttered school, violated specific policies, restricted laws, and misled students. Um, DeVos was highly critical of the program, reportedly calling it a free money giveaway and start to change and delay the program. However, she was sued, and a federal judge ruled in September the program needed to go in effect. Those eligible for loan forgiveness must have been enrolled at a school when it closed and not enrolled at another Title IV school within 3 years of the previous school's closing. Interesting. Plus, loans which parents took on behalf of children could also be eligible for discharge. So far, about 15,000 people have been flagged by the Education Department as eligible. About $80 million of the $150 million debt is attributed to the now defunct Corinthian schools. Borrowers will begin to be notified of student loan discharges by email on Friday, the department said. This is a good first step, but it's not good enough, uh, said Senator Patty Murray, the top Democrat of the Education Committee. She called on DeVos to abandoned her attempts to rewrite the borrower defense rule to let for-profit colleges off the hook and instead fully implement the current rule and provide relief to more than 100,000 borrowers who were cheated out of their education savings. So this is interesting, man, because $1.5 trillion of student loan debt is on the table right now. 150 million is like what, less than 10%?
I want to say it's like 1%.
Yeah, something like that. It's less than 10% though. It,
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I just feel like the way how I see it is that any of those schools who did close, who are you paying to, and why are you paying it?
Mm.
Right? You're talking. I mean, you're sending money to a place that doesn't have a person you can even talk to.
Right, right. That's a good point. But these school aren't a lot of these former students have loans with these corporations.
Yeah,
So aren't they sending their money to them?
they are, but the problem is that um, when you pay off these student loans, if the school is closed, it doesn't really matter, right? I mean, by default, if the school defaults, then your loan should go into a suspended or a default state too,
Hmm.
right? Because the school didn't hold up their commitment to staying open.
Correct.
So so what I'm saying is the school gets to the people who ran the school and who the stakeholders, they get to balk on their commitments, but you're not allowed to to balk on yours. So my thing is, if they get the balk, you get the balk too.
Hmm. Correct. Well, I see the logic in that. Yes, I agree with that.
Hmm. So
And
if you're sending money to somebody, who the hell are you sending it to, right? It's like that doesn't make any sense to a lot of people.
it doesn't. And so she's saying in a free money giveaway. I see what or I hope she's thinking like we're like we just put forth. The other thing that was interesting in that article was what was the stipulation?
Mhm.
You went to the school, but you didn't go to another division for school 3 years after you went to that school. You know, that's like a stipulation that people are going to go to school. So if you did, you SOL. But then again, like you just said, who you paying the money to? There's nobody to pay money to.
Well, the federal government gets it, right? Because I think the loans have been shifted to from Sally Mae to Navient, and I think Navient is it's supposed to be like a private institution, but at the same time, they still pay back the government. So what I'm saying is that the government is receiving money from people who can't afford to pay for an institution that no longer exists.
Right.
That that's
So
that's yeah, that's a bit of a Ponzi scheme.
yeah, it is. It is. You still got to pay even. Yeah. And a lot of schools went defunct. It said the schools that went defunct, like 80% of the 150 million were Corinthian, like a Corinthian school or something.
Yeah,
Then what about these dry? Uh, what's the other
University
one?
of Phoenix.
Yeah. Well, they still going on though. Well,
Oh yeah, they are, but they're a private institution too.
okay. It was another one. Something like people going to it for nursing.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I can't remember
Now,
the name right now.
yeah. They went under. They
Yeah,
went far.
ITT as well. ITT Tech is another one.
Yeah.
There's quite a few of them, but the problem is that those schools were established under the guise that they were going to get federal loans from the government, and that they were going to take advantage of these these veteran benefits,
Mm-hmm.
and that's how most of those schools made their money, right? So you had a lot of these guys who went to the military, or were working for the government and took advantage of these easy to enroll programs. And how were they going to pay for that? Well, they're just going to use their veteran
Yeah.
benefits, the GI Bill. So, and a lot of schools made a lot of bank, or the stakeholders made a lot of bank, and then they ran off. You never heard from them.
Everett. Everett. That's the. I think that's it. Everett. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
But
Everett.
yeah. Um. That's it. But then now you got these people that use a GI Bill. Schools went defunct. Now they can't get that uh back.
Hmm.
Yeah. It's it's like you tell people to go to school, but then they have to stipulate, not stipulate, but say don't go to these schools, don't go for profit
Hmm.
schools. So then
Hmm.
the other schools, they tuition is high.
And you can't get in unless you pass the exam, the entry exam. So
Mm,
you're leaving a lot of Americans out in the cold, and that's why EDX was actually developed as a platform. Was because of this.
mm,
Was
which is
to
good.
yeah, to respond to people who couldn't afford to go to school. To you. I mean, not saying that everybody should go to Harvard or Yale or any of these Division 1, Division 2 schools, but what I'm saying is, in this country, in order for you to really make it up that vertical ladder, that corporate ladder, you had to have an extensive level of education.
Hmm.
You know, especially for Black people, because Black people are very, very dependent upon high levels of education. That's why you had the HBCU started in the first place in the 1800s. But see, the government, the people who make these decisions, like Betsy DeVos, she's not looking at it from that perspective. Oh, that's just free money. Well, that's funny because you had TARP, the bailout for the banks.
Might
You
say
gave
nothing
money.
about that.
Yeah, you gave money to GM. You gave money to Chrysler.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, like we said, you do want people to go to school, but then it either costs too much or the entry exam. Then you got to go much longer because you got to take zero level classes.
Hmm.
So it's already hard to graduate in that 4 year period. So
Hmm.
now you're looking at 5 years of payments. Okay.
Oh, you get stuck with paying 30 years of a student loan debt off.
Hmm.
It's either you pay it off in 30 years, or gets quite clean in 30 years. But if you start paying at 30, 35 years old, that may not get paid off till you about 65, 70.
Yeah.
These are bad. This is, and I think Anti Gravity coined this before. It's debt bondage. You're
Yeah.
basically colonizing people through student loan debt.
Us millennials, we were told to go to school, get a job, go to marry, blah blah blah, all that stuff. But the first year millennial, for a couple year, first couple year millennials, we did that and we got hit. We got hit hard. So now it's like we're leading the charge of doing things differently. Yeah, people education, but in a more different way, not in a traditional way of going to school and racking up all this debt. There's other ways out there, and those ways are becoming more popular, like the edX, what's that? The other, the Audacity. Um, because
Udacity, you mean?
yeah, Udacity. Man, it's a lot of debt, especially if you go to a private institution. That's even more, especially if you go out of state. Um,
If you want to go to Cornell, or
Brown.
one of those other SoCal, you're talking about 40 grand a year. A year, that's what you're paying.
And decades ago, 40,000 was to go to they what's the price to pay your entire degree. Now it's a year. That's ridiculous, man. That's more than a house.
Hmm.
And then when you racket that debt up, you expect to get a house and get married and raise children. It cost, last time I saw, it cost $250,000 just to raise a child from birth to 18. That's debt bondage. All,
No,
not raising a child, but all this together is what I'm trying to say.
it is that bondage. Just want to read this point from the chat. Raheem says most of the degrees will be redundant in the coming years due to automation. No, not necessarily. Not necessarily. You still need electrical engineers. You still need guys who can write code, or people who can write code. You still need medical doctors. You can't. You. I mean, automation is good in places where your job can be automated, if that makes any sense. People who stock shelves and cashiers, those jobs can be easily automated. So
Okay, hold on. I got to mute up a little bit.
yeah, 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 those jobs can be easily automated. So um, I would worry more about the people at the minimum wage rate, or people who work these hourly jobs, in these retail areas. Retail is the first place to get hit with automation, if that makes any sense. All right, let me move on to the next article. All right, this next article is from CNN Business. Trump says GM is not going to be treated well after layoffs. President Trump said Thursday that General Motors CEO Mary Barra made a big mistake by laying off thousands of workers and pledged to retaliate against the company. In the Fox News interview with Harris Faulkner, he said he he was upset with GM's plan to restructure its global business, including halting production at 5 facilities in North America and eliminating about 14,000 jobs. He lashed out against Barra, calling her actions nasty. To tell me a couple weeks before Christmas that she's going to close in Ohio and Michigan, not acceptable to me, Trump said. And she's either going to open fast or somebody else is going in. But General Motors is not going to be treated well. GM GM said in a statement Thursday that the company is focused on our employees currently working at our impacted plants in Maryland, Michigan, and Ohio. Trump's comments were only his latest in a string of highly unusual public attacks on the CEO of a major American corporation by a president. GM has said it closed plants and laid off workers to better prepare for the future. The company wants to shift production from sedans, which have fallen out of favor with Americans, to SUVs and trucks. It also wants to save money for the expensive task of inventing self-driving car technology. In the statement Thursday, GM said its focus remains of the employees at the plant that are closing, adding that hourly workers may be able to find jobs at other locations. We continue to produce great vehicles today for our customers while taking steps towards our vision of a world with zero crashes, zero emissions, and zero congestion, said the company. So Trump wants to retaliate not just against the Chinese. He wants to retaliate against American companies too. I don't know if this is going to end well because if you start shooting sideways, you may start losing some of your support. So
Yeah, I read this article, and Trump knows what's going on. He's just saving face. He's just acting for the public because in it he said that she's going to close in Ohio and close factories in Ohio and Michigan. Those aren't those key states for his presidency?
Not necessarily. It is and it isn't, because those. I think those are swing states. So.
Okay, but every state count, especially in his situation. He may have problems when if he chooses to run again.
Well, even if
He,
he does, even when he does run, who's going to run against him? Is the real question.
hmm
No one has really. I mean, 2020 is only 13 months away. You would have to have started your campaign before the
already.
summer. Yeah,
Yeah.
you had to already start that before the summer. So I don't think anybody's going to run against him. It may
Now,
cause a lot of disruption. I think what they're banking on is impeaching him, but that's a whole nother discussion.
um, another thing, I'm pretty sure. Well, I'm not gonna say I'm pretty sure. In the article, they said that they're cutting the sedans because they are not selling well. Americans mainly use work trucks and SUVs, so they're cutting these small to medium sized sedans to make room for money wise. Stop making them to make room for the automation. So to make room for their um, automation and bring automation into their um, force and into their car. Uh, the word I'm trying to escapes me. So logically, I understand what they're doing. These sedans are not selling, um, so erase them. Well, not erase them. Stop making them so we can put money toward automation because they don't want to get left behind. You have these other car companies that are making cars toward automation. GM don't want to get left behind. So I understand the logic. It's just Trump. I think he's just doing it for the public. He's saying all this to appease the public for future votes. That's what I think. He know what's going on.
Well, if we really look at it from a technical analysis, those sedans aren't selling because millennials can't afford to buy them. Not so much that millennials just don't want them. I mean, BMW doesn't have any problem selling cars. Mercedes doesn't have any problem selling sedans. Audi doesn't have any problem selling sedans. The A4 moves, the A3 moves. The BMW 3 Series is constantly moving. It's a matter of desire to buy GM products for GM, right? In this context, GM. But when it comes to other brands, they seem to be selling just fine. Volkswagen's best selling product is the Jetta, and that's a sedan.
Yeah. Even we read before how Volkswagen is want like 90% of their car fleet to be EV in the future. So people are moving forward this automation. And yeah, logically we understand because we've been going over it, and we understand GM doesn't want to get left behind the times because this automation is coming fast, quick, fast, in a hurry. It's just politically they have to do a dancing act, get Trump off their back, and to answer these people that really that don't see um, that don't see the future
Hmm.
of automation coming in. They'll only be privy to the info, well, watching information once it hits. Once they see on the news that hey, GM stopped making the Impala. Hey, GM stopped making this. GM stopped making that, and it's because they want to work on their automation technology. But right now, it's early. They're taking hits.
All right, we'll move on to the next article. All right, this one is from NBCNews.com. China says it will suspend its 25% additional tariff on U.S. autos. The relief will last for 3 months starting January 1st as part of an agreement, as in part of an agreed truce between Beijing and Washington. China said it will temporarily halt its additional 25% tariff on vehicles made in the United States. The relief will last for 3 months from January 1st as part of an agreed truce between Beijing and Washington. Chinese, the Chinese Finance Ministry said on its website that China will suspend 25% tariffs on 144 vehicles and auto parts originating from the U.S. and 5% tariffs on additional 67 auto items. President Trump and President Xi Jinping agreed to lessen the impact of the trade tariffs for the first 90 days of 2019, following a dinner in Argentina on December 1st. The U.S. has slapped a 25% tariff on finished vehicles built in China and 10% on most auto parts. China's 40% tariff on U.S. car imports will now reduce to 15% for 90 days. But that brings auto tariffs in China back down to the same level as before the point that the two countries began imposing the tit-for-tat levies. In a note released Thursday, auto analysts at the Swiss bank UBS said trade risks continue to linger in that under the worst scenario, U.S. sales could slump by as much as 12%. So, let me read this one last paragraph. But UBS highlighted Ford, General Motors, and Fiat Chrysler as potential winners should tariffs prohibit imports, as all three have capacity to boost domestic production. Meanwhile, auto sales in China fell 14% in November over the same month in 2017. Chinese Association of Automobile Manufacturers said Tuesday. So, a lot of these vehicles that are actually popular in China and not really American vehicles. It's actually BMW and Mercedes that are being imported into China out of South Carolina in in Alabama. So the Chinese like European based cars, and they also like American based cars. So the best American selling car in China is actually the Buick. It's the Buick Regal.
Yeah, China will suspend 25% additional tariffs on U.S. autos. Per that meeting Trump had with Xi Jinping, I think this sessions that came out of it is for 3 months. And I don't want to mix articles, but I think this article was stating how it it feeds into another article how the Chinese economy, is doing what it's doing, but they're trying to save their economies, and I understand. Maybe GM can sell some of the open up one of the factories and sell. I don't know. That's a joke, but 3 months tariffs. Do you think it'll last 3 months?
Not with this Huawei CFO missing. Could be
Yeah.
reversed, but
Did you hear that China arrested another another official? That's man. This is hilarious, man. This is better than the stories. But
oh, you covered that on Wednesday. But
my bad. I mean jump the gun. But this is. We'll see if it lasts 3 months from January 1st to March 1st. No, not March. January 1st. Past March. April 1st. We'll see. I read the article. They supposed. I don't know, man. I don't know. I wouldn't place a bet on it.
yeah, I don't think that I don't think American cars are selling like that in China. It's really the European vehicles built in America that are really selling. You know, they like Volkswagens for whatever reason in China, and they love BMWs and Mercedes. I think Asian culture modern Asian culture, buying culture, looks at European vehicles as prestigious. In their own vehicles, they don't really buy too much. They buy them if they have to, but in terms of what they consider to be luxury items, they don't consider Chinese-made vehicles to be luxury. So,
My bad. I had to mute up a little bit more. I'm agreeing with what you're saying. I'm just think I know they made this deal on December 1st, um, and the whole thing with that with the Huawei CTO or CFO. I think CFO. I'm still thinking. I'm trying to think. Will it last 3 months? That's a tough one. I'm agreeing with everything you're saying. Logically, to save their economy, I mean, obviously, the 3 month ceasefire. Whew, if okay, how about this? If I don't know, I'll pass. It's a tough one, man. This is a tough one.
all right, move on to the next article. NBCNews.com. Former head, former Fed head Janet Yellen warns of potential financial crisis ahead. There could be another financial crisis on the horizon, warned former Federal Reserve Chair Janet Yellen in a speech Monday night. I think some things have quote. I think some things quote. I think things have improved, but then I think there are gigantic holes in the system. Yellen said in a discussion moderated by New York Times columnist Paul Krugman at CUNY. The tools that are available to deal with emerging problems are not great in the United States. Yellen cited leverage loans as an area of concern, something also mentioned by current Fed leadership. She said regulators can only address such problems at individual banks, not throughout the financial system, the former Fed chair, now a scholar at the Brookings Institute, said there remains an agenda of unfinished regulation. I'm not sure we're working on those things in the way that we should, and then there remain holes, and then there's regulatory pushback. So I do worry that we could have another financial crisis. In the wake of the financial crisis, some agency regulatory powers were vastly expanded, but others, for example, the ability of the Fed to lend to an individual company in a crisis, were curtailed. Current Fed officials have pushed back against criticism that their reforms are making their system riskier, saying that they're making the system more efficient. I mean, the pushback now is to do something about. Let me see. Dollar Will sent something. Yeah, the pushback is to the individual banks, right? But the problem with local banks is that they have to compete against multinational banks. So of course they can't offer the same instruments for people on the ground because your your um, your ability to leverage your instruments is being overshadowed by bigger institutions, your Bank of Americas, your J.P. Morgans, your other big multinational conglomerates are basically killing small banks. If not, if they don't acquire them, through acquisition, then they're just killing them off.
Yeah, I was hoping Dollar will come up on the panel. Oh, there we go. Because I was
Too
interested to
busy,
see.
too busy stuffing his
Uh,
belly.
yeah, yeah. What's going on, Dollar Will? How you doing?
What's up, fam?
Yeah,
All
what's
right,
going on?
all right. How about them Cowboys?
Go Cowboys, go.
Go Bears. All right. So, what's your thoughts on this one?
I'll catch the next one, man. I didn't catch it. I scanned that article. It seemed like which I'm like, what is she calling a disaster or a crisis? What is she calling a crisis? I mean, a natural downturn, I guess, in the stock market that wouldn't necessarily qualify as a crisis per se.
Now,
I guess if the banks don't have the money to do business, you know, that type of mismanagement or something of that, some accounting issue. I'm just trying to understand what does she mean by crisis? We're headed for.
Well, let's look at it in context. Small banks don't have money to dole out loans because people aren't putting more money in the banks because people are not working as much as they were prior to 2008. So a lot of people who were holding on to their savings after 2008 who couldn't get back in the job market probably depleted all their funds that were in these local banks. And for some of these banks, you need to maintain a balance. And a lot of people just don't see the necessity in either maintaining the balance or they put their money into other places. Trying to get out of those toxic mortgages. They were beneath water.
So what else? Let's see. So if we have, thinking bigger picture, I'm of the belief that this economy is slowing down, and usually that the slowdown precedes layoffs. So if we get layoffs and then we get people not able to make their loan payments, that would affect those balances you're talking about, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm just trying to connect all the dots in my mind. I'm just a technical trader, so I'm trying to keep these fundamentals straight. Okay.
And in my mind, when I read this article, it seemed like she was just throwing out a popular talking point, and to me, she didn't know what she was talking about like we do.
Well, I think she know what she's talking about. I think there's stuff she can't say. I mean, it's like what is. Yeah, we're trying to read between the tea leaves here. What is she really saying?
She's walking a fine line because she doesn't work there anymore, and there's only so much she can say at the moment, right? Because she's saying the same thing that we covered last week from the current Fed chairwoman, right? The one that was appointed earlier this summer. So they both said the same thing, and we did cover that last hangout.
Gotcha.
The problem is these smaller banks, your local banks, are basically struggling, but they're struggling because multinational banks are killing them. They don't offer better products, better instruments, and when you look around if you narrow it down to just black people's unemployment, you'll see that in a lot of areas that are predominantly black, or places that have an excess of 100,000 population of black people, you'll see that the percentage for black men is very high for unemployment. Chicago, something like 48%, or something to that effect. Baltimore, something like 67% of black male unemployment. So like 2 out of 3 of your black men are just not working, or at least it's not being identified by the IRS. It's just a massive areas where people are just not putting in, their money into banks anymore.
Yeah, and I'm gonna beat the drum again on the layoff situation with unemployment being, I guess the way they tell us it's low. If layoffs come, there's no fat in the labor pool to cut. If companies are complaining now they can't find enough workers. So if companies have to get smaller because the economy is slowing down, then they're going to be cutting to the bone when those layoffs come. And that, and then of course everybody's always talking about the debt bubble, bursting of the debt bubble. Well, I think if you have lots of people not able to make the minimum payment on their various loans, I think that's got to have some pretty severe national impact.
I know.
Yeah. No comment. Y'all kind of had me laughing when y'all answer my question. That's all. Yeah, no comment. Uh, you know what? You know what? I'm with you. She's not saying enough. She's saying what we know in the articles that we went over, but she's not saying enough because she can't say enough. So I agree with you all saying.
Mhm. All right, move on to the next article. This one is from CCN.com. U.S. bills seek to protect cryptocurrency investors from market manipulation. Two U.S. congressmen introduced bipartisan legislation designed to prevent cryptocurrency price manipulation and position the United States as a leader in the crypto industry. Democrat Representative Darren Soto of Florida and Republican Rep. Ted Budd of North Carolina unveiled following bills: Virtual Currency Consumer Protection Act. This bill detects CFTC to explain how price manipulation occurs and to recommend regulatory changes and to prevent it. Virtual Currency Market and Regulatory Competitive Act. This law directs CFTC to conduct a comparative study of crypto regulations in other countries and to recommend ways to make the United States more competitive by providing regulatory clarity and finding alternatives to burdensome laws that impede innovation. In a joint statement released December 6th, Representative Darren Soto and Representative Ted Budd underscored the profound potential of cryptocurrencies and blockchain, the technology underpinning Bitcoin. Virtual currencies and the underlying blockchain technology has a profound potential to be a driver of economic growth, the congressman said. That's why we must ensure that the United States is at the forefront. Soto and Budd said the laws they propose would protect consumers and investors without dampening the environment of innovation that would maximize the potential of these groundbreaking technologies. This is interesting. It's pretty long too. Let me see. What do you guys think?
I think that is going to send terror to the shit coins. Okay, because with it's like I'm presuming that this is like stocks. When you have low volume, it's low volume instruments are easier to manipulate the price. But something with a large market cap, like your bigger your bigger ones in that top 30 of the cryptocurrency. That's gonna it's hard to manipulate, and it's going to get even harder now that the whales are going to be trading it. So the volume in all of these major cryptos is going to be much greater than it was. It's going to have much broader participation. Therefore, it's kind of self-correcting in that regard. But for the smaller shit coins, that's going to, those are the penny stocks of the crypto world, and we all know that about the pump and dumping that goes on in the penny stock. So I think that this is just a move it's a good move, but I think it's probably mostly going to be symbolic, because we can't even really stop the pump and dumps in the daggone penny stocks. So just taking any kind of position to reassure people. I take this as a sign that the government is that they're getting behind this. They want to create they want people to feel that it's safe, but it's not likely to be any safer on that on the shitcoin end than, say, buying a penny stock. So buyer beware, just like if you were talking stocks.
I understand what they're saying when they want to for crypto regulations, because when you want more, Okay, that will understand what you're saying with the whales. Whales will come in, buy up everything, then offer it to other people. I understand that part, but with all,
Or just that it's more than one whale, and no one. It's so much money there that it's hard for one person to make the price skyrocket.
Mhm.
Pretty
Now,
hard when you have high volume, but when you have low volume, it's much more likely, and it actually it happens much more on the lower end.
now, how about this? The whales are getting in it to make the not the first adopters, but the crowd simplify everything because what you said it yourself with all these wallets, you know, everything, it's a learning curve. But when the
Right.
whales come in and they offer it to the crowd of people that will come in after the first adopters, they'll make it even easier because they may say, hey, you don't have to deal with no wallet. Just buy it from us. We'll close storage and you don't have to worry about no wallets or anything. So that level of comfort maybe come with the crypto regulations. That's what
Uh,
I'm thinking.
yeah. Well, I'm thinking that when you talk about the whales and making it easier for people, I'm still of the opinion we're going to end up with an ETF. So but this regulation is going to it's going to inspire confidence. So it's a position that a regulatory agency has to take,
hmm And
especially for something new. We're talking about something we're used to penny stocks. We know what
mhm.
they are, okay. But this is a new thing. So they have to do what they can to increase investor confidence on over something that's new coming to the market. That's the regulatory agency's job, is to protect us.
And I agree with you. The whales that we went over, the Fidelity, the J.P. Morgan, even the Yale, MIT, Harvard, those endowments coming in. I feel like I'm missing something else, somebody else. I want to say Goldman Sachs. I don't know,
Yeah,
Mastercard.
yeah,
Even those,
Goldman Sachs,
yeah,
all of them. You got it.
those whales coming in to the crowd. They're gonna say, well, if they get it, even New York Stock Exchange. So people may say, well, if they getting in it, well, maybe there's something in this. Maybe it's not a Ponzi scheme. So that that in itself will help curtail the negative talk. So I understand what you're saying. Maybe I was just thinking, people are not going to readily want to learn about wallets and keep your own private keys and it's your money. If it's stored on the exchange, you don't own it.
Well,
We
these reassurances from the regulators also makes it easy for the brokerages to sell them, to encourage people that they're advising that it's quote unquote safe, or just as safe as you know as a lot of other stocks, or just as risky. No, it's not inherently more risky because we have regulations in place. I mean, so having the regulators on their jobs, it just helps assure or offer reassurance that it's safe to put your money here. But we know it comes with risk, like everything else.
agree. Yeah, but I was just saying, but yeah, I agree with what you're saying. The logic you're saying, you can't like be on the same page. I was just taking it a step further and say, that learning curve, people just not ready to for that learning curve. But I understand what you're saying. I agree.
Yeah,
But
I agree with
we
what you're
shall
saying
see.
about the learning curve too. Yeah, you're right.
We shall see.
Yeah.
They got to tackle that. They got to. Yeah, that's why I think that we're going to end up with ETFs.
All right. This next article is from Bloomberg.com. Trade war damage to China's economy is already done, Citi says. The damage to China's economy from the trade war with the U.S. can't be immediately made good even in the case of resolution with President Trump, Citigroup's economists say. That's because the tariff war is underlining China's rising cost of labor at a time when the job market is under pressure. City economists led by Lu Ligang said in their 2019 Economic Outlook report. The trade war with the U.S. could cut China's export growth by almost half next year, putting around 4.4 million jobs at risk, the economist wrote. It is a reality that China is losing some of its cost competitiveness, especially in labor-intensive and low-value added sectors. According to the report, although shifting the supply chain is not feasible in real time, manufacturers may seriously weigh the option of leaving China if punitive tariffs last longer than expected. Even amid signs of a detente between Beijing and Washington, city's baseline scenario is still that the 15% additional tariff will be levied on Chinese exports after March 1st, as 90 days may be insufficient to resolve large differences between the two countries on issues of IP protection, intellectual property protection, forced technology transfers, and state support to state-owned enterprises, and cyber intrusion and theft. The economists expect the trade war will cut China's export growth by almost half to 5.1% in 2019. The 25% tariffs on U.S. $250 billion worth of imports from China would reduce China's exports by 5.6% points, denting GDP growth by 1.04 percentage points. So it looks like China is already hemorrhaging right now as it stands. Dollar Wolf.
My bad. I was talking. I ain't even know I was muted. Yeah, but we've been saying this. We've mentioned other. We read other articles. I'm talking too fast. We've read other articles, and we've said, we think China is their economy is not doing too well. I forgot the name of it. I forgot the article that we went over maybe 2-3 weeks ago. But we've mentioned this before. And this trade war, I just don't see how China's doing well with this trade war, and then the money they're giving out for this Belt and Road initiatives. These countries are defunct on their payment stuff they doing in the South China Sea. We're building up these Spratly Islands. I just don't see how they still afloat. They're coming still afloat. So now we read this article. It's just confirming what we've been thinking all along.
Yeah, I would have to do some more research to see where we stand with the steel and aluminum surplus. Is the surplus growing, or has it, has it leveled off? I would need to know that to understand or have an opinion about this. It seems like we could be coming to the end of this trade war, and I'm sorry, this tariff war. That the only thing that would make sense to me is, one, I know we have like one good push left, one real good push left in this dollar. The top, I really do not believe this top is in, and at that point, we're gonna the dollar weakness will resume, and there won't really be much reason for this tariff war. I think both sides are hurting right now. I think both sides have come to a mutual conclusion that maybe we've done enough damage. But I have to look into it more to see where we stand with the surplus of steel and aluminum. I can't take take these articles at face value. You know, these headlines that's being served to us as at face value. Why do you think that? First, Mike, do you think that the tariff war is winding down, and if so, why?
It is winding down. There are massive layoffs in China as we're speaking right now. You're seeing the price of goods actually go up relative to what they were quarters ago. Um, and you know, you're seeing it even on the U.S. side too. So farmers are really the first ones who were impacted because of the soybeans. A lot of soybeans that were supposed to be shipped to China just sitting on barges and probably tipped into the sea anyways as a loss. Um, so your farmers have to be covered for all of their production. Pork is another one. Um, and the export of vehicles. U.S. used to export quite a few vehicles to China, and then as the tariffs came in, that kind of slowed down. So a lot of production on your assembly lines weren't really needed. But stakeholders are still saying pump more cars. What you pump more cars, but where are you going to send them to? Right? Especially at the considerable rates, it just isn't worth it. So you're seeing it on the U.S. side. You're seeing it on Asia side. Canada and Mexico felt it, and you see that Trump had to sit down and negotiate with Trudeau and the last Mexican president before the new one came into office a few weeks ago. So everybody's feeling it. When U.S. gets a cold, everybody else gets pneumonia, so to speak. So other people are feeling, other nation states are feeling it.
Okay, what do you think? Did anybody win?
I
Either side win.
think the U.S. got the message across of where they stand, and they're willing to take it up to another level, right? So if the tariffs don't hurt you, then we'll start kidnapping your high-ranking people, including that CFO from Huawei. And we also know that when early in the year, that when the U.S. put in tariffs sanctions on ZTE, which is a Chinese state-run company, they almost collapsed the company within weeks.
I will say this for it though, if you remember it, in the beginning of these tariffs, it was about China dumping the steel and aluminum on us, and so adding those tariffs absolutely did slow down the sale of those products, made with those disputed commodities. So.
Mm-hmm.
In that sense, I guess you can say it worked because if China is not able to sell things all the way through their pipeline, it will stop them from exporting those items to us if they're not being sold or if orders are not coming in for them. Mm-hmm. So in that sense, you have to say it must, it probably worked. Like I said, that's why I gotta do a little deeper dive into what's going on with the inventory for steel and aluminum, because it may have worked, and both sides may be tired of playing this game of chicken. They may have come to their senses.
Well, U.S. got their message across, so I mean they hit the Europeans as well. So don't think that China was the only one, but the Europeans got hit as well.
Okay. Where's anti-gravity?
I think he's driving.
Okay, that's the economist now. Come on now, anti-gravity.
All right. This next one is from BitcoinInsider.org. Steady rise in small businesses accepting Bitcoin payments in Kenya. Kenyan health services provider Healthland Spa has started taking BTC and other cryptocurrencies as a means of payment with the view to increasing accountability and averting losses. Across East Africa, cryptocurrency acceptance is on the rise, with at least 2 restaurants in Uganda and Kenya selling food for virtual currencies. Safe and secure currency. I'm not even going to be able to pronounce his brother's name, but Mwangara, Tony Mwangara, um, founder of Nairobi-based Healthland Spa, told Kenya News like Bitcoin that he resorted to BTC to plug revenue loss. There was so much theft in my business, so I decided, why don't I use technology which is safe and secure? And I decided to accept Bitcoin as a mode of payment. Interesting. With the introduction of cryptocurrencies, Healthland Spa customers will now be footing the bill for massages, pedicures, and other health and beauty treatment services from their digital wallets. The company, which also accepts Dash, is looking to add more cryptocurrencies in the coming months. Ongara is not the first Kenyan service provider to make Bitcoin move. Boxlight Electronics, a Kenyan company that distributes a range of electrical gadgets, including television sets and home theaters, now accepts payment in Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash. This is interesting.
Yeah, this was an interesting article. It also said that cryptocurrencies is steady making their stay taking a foothold in Africa, especially in Kenya and Uganda. Uganda is doing the same thing. You know, Uganda is right next door to Kenya. I think Kenya is more acceptable to it because they have M-Pesa, um, and they have more established businesses to accept to do the point of sale transactions using cryptocurrencies. Um, but the first things that are using them are regular restaurants, like you just read, spas. No major like hotels, anything using it, but start from the bottom first and then work your way up. I like that. So it's good that like the guy said in the article, he said it was so much so I forgot the word he used, but so much corruption or
Theft.
he was theft, and he saw cryptocurrencies as a way to reduce that, and this is exactly one of the reasons that's exactly one of the use cases of cryptocurrency. So they're being used in a way that they were meant to be used.
Mhm.
Yeah, all I have to say on that is full speed ahead.
Yeah.
You know.
Who yeah?
I We'll move on to the next article. Bitcoinist.com. Ethereum price analysis. Ether burns to a crisp. Ethereum has turned to an unattended dumpster fire. Let's take a look at the Ethereum price analysis and see what it will take to turn this price around. Um, Market overview. 2018 has been a rough year for Ethereum price. 84,569.4. And at the moment, it doesn't look like the situation will improve. Of the top 5 cryptocurrencies, Ethereum price disintegration has been nothing short of harrowing, and with the ICO market being declared dead by a growing number of analysts. Meanwhile, the SEC constant pursuit of what it deems to be unregistered security sales and illegal marketing has put a ton of pressure, keeping it from rebounding from its current lows. Additional pressure is also coming from a record high number of shorts, 400,000, betting against an Ether recovery, and this seems to be pinning Ether price um, Ether price below $95, and a break above $95 100 could cause some shorts to cover, and the price could extend to 115 to 125. A lot of candlesticks there, Dollar.
Oh yeah, I'm putting
Yeah,
one.
dollar bill. Tell
I'm
it dollar
putting
bill
one.
'cause was when I saw this article, I was hoping you was get on here, man.
Yeah, I'm putting one here on the thing. Click that link in the chat there and bring up the chart I just posted.
Mm-hmm.
It's I like the one that the same. It shows the same thing. We don't have to get just to show the let it draw there. There you go. Click that on the upper. Scroll the chart up a little bit. Yeah, over there, right where the go button is, to turn up the candlesticks. There you go, right there. Select candlestick open to close. Yeah, and just set it to monthly. And yeah, scroll on over to the right, to the right. Keep going. There you go, monthly. Set it to monthly. Just don't take no deep analysis. All I'm trying to let you see, we count an Elliott wave. In Elliott wave theory, retraces the ABC pattern. That green candlestick you see there as part of that downtrend, that's the B wave. It doesn't take. It's not no deep analysis. This thing, until this thing makes a higher high, you could pretty much put a trend line on the highs of the candlestick, and I wouldn't touch it until it breaks it. I wouldn't try to be brave. I'm going to go into this more at the end of the show with some other charts, but since this one was in the at this point, I just want to let you get a glance at it. But I will do charts today at the end, and I'll revisit this one. But you can see that's pretty ugly. No reason to be a hero.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, I mean, September 2016 looks to be like its maximum low.
Yeah. We getting close now. Now, what is encouraging though, as you see over time, the range gets shorter, meaning the height of the candlestick gets shorter and shorter and shorter. That's actually a good thing. So the when you're near a bottom, that's what you get. The bulls and bears get closer together in their idea of the value of the thing. Okay, as you see in the beginning of that downtrend, the candlesticks are huge. Okay, so they were wildly the bulls and the bears were in wild, tremendous disagreement over the value of the thing. This goes for anything, crypto, stock, any stock. When you see a big candlestick, that's like wide disagreement over the value, over the price, and that's a high volatility. But now, as we get to the end, the bulls and bears come to an agreement, get closer. They get closer to agreement over what the value of the thing is. So we'll see. But I'll look at it some more later. But I would not. I would just put a resistance line connecting the highs, and I wouldn't try to be a hero with this.
Okay.
Well, but that's all I wanted to show you on that. But I'll jump into that later.
I think we got like two more articles. All right, this one is from BC Focus. Church's Chicken accepts Dash as crypto payment in Venezuela. The fourth largest fast food chain in the world, Church's Chicken, announced that it will be accepting Dash as a crypto payment across Venezuela. This comes as great news, not just for Dash, but for the whole crypto community. The food chain spreads across 25 different countries, according to the press release. Representatives of the franchise indicated that soon will develop a series of promotions to encourage the use of Dash in their establishments, which are added to the more than 2,200 establishments in Venezuela that have this fast and easy mode of transactions. Church's Chicken Venezuela Director General Orlando Nayes revealed that this move shows that we trust Dash and that it will become a growth agent in this new financial world. This comes soon after another fast food franchise, KFC, denied the rumors, stating that it will be accepting Dash as a payment. It is to be noted that Dash Venezuela is the first crypto community. Wait a second. It is to be noted that Dash Venezuela is the first crypto community in the country. The organization has promoted the expansion of the crypto usability and the valuation of blockchain technology through various conferences, workshops, training, and specialized courses, allowing the growth of community in the country. Bradley Zastro, the global director of business development at Dash Core, while speaking about the Dash Venezuela community, said that it has achieved incredible job by encouraging the use of crypto in the country, and it is exciting to integrate the major national food chain by the first by first time in the history of Dash. In other news, Dash announced that it will soon activate instant send transactions by default. From the 0.13 release, the default regular transaction will change into instant send. Unlike regular transactions, the instant send makes use of masternode network to lock transaction inputs for an extra fee. This is interesting. I know Dash has a great foothold inside Venezuela, but there's no real. I never really hear them talk about Dash in conjunction to the Petro. It always seems to be just about Dash and where they play at in the retail market. So
Yeah, when I saw this, I uh had to put on the docket because Dash, like you said, Dash has been in Venezuela for a couple months. It seems like since the start of that hyperinflation. I've seen videos where people have sent money from dumb smartphones to smartphones and vice versa. And I remember you were saying that when, a lot of these dumb phones can be repurposed, and they're actually repurposing it. What you do, from what I can remember, what you do is you text something to a number, and they'll automatically set you up with a Dash wallet through the carrier, and I think it's connected to your phone, and you can receive Dash and send Dash, but Dash is the main cryptocurrency down there. Like, I think there's one or two other cryptocurrencies. I know Smart Cash is down there, but again, this is another use case for cryptocurrencies. They're actually serving a purpose, especially in a country where they're going through hyperinflation. Um, I I don't know if I'm mistaken, but I heard they may be going to Venezuela, not Venezuela. I already said Venezuela, Argentina, because Argentina is doing inflation, not hyperinflation, but just inflation. But yeah, they're down there heavy, man. Merchants are accepting Dash, so they're down there heavy.
mhm.
Yeah, I couldn't get over. I didn't even know that they had churches in Venezuela. Churches chicken in Venezuela. So that was news to me. And when it comes to America, man, that's just going to be humorous.
Well,
Dash into the chicken joint, you know.
it actually allows these countries allow the cryptocurrency to be used as a pilot. And if it's successful down there, then it's got to be successful in the United States. There's got to be no question about it because the infrastructure has already been in place.
Okay, maybe I'm reading too much into this. I mean, you know, being African American, everything you say chicken, chicken joint, okay, cryptocurrency. I'm like, are they trying to target to us? But then I have to remind myself, chicken is the most consumed meat, at least in America. I don't know, it might be in the world, but definitely in America. You know, so It's not just about us, but my first instinct is to take it that way.
Mm-hmm.
I know one thing, it will get our attention.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So let alone churches, chicken, then it's all over when we get a church accepting a crypto on Sunday. Oh, that'll be game over.
Mm-hmm. I know you got anything else? All right, we'll move on to the next article. All right, this one is from Market Insider. Amazon buying Target would accelerate an existing threat to Walmart, says analyst who's doubling down on his call. Amazon, Target, Walmart.
Wow. You
On
gotta
the
let
first,
me. You gotta let me get a wow in here. I didn't read this. I gotta say wow before you read this, because I remember we were talking and I said these big rich companies have to do something with this money before the economy rolls over. But go ahead. I'm sorry. Wow.
on the first day of 2018, Wiley followed analyst G. Munster of the venture capitalist firm Loop Ventures predicted Amazon would buy Target this year, a forecast that has yet to pan out with 22 days left. The firm just doubled down on the prediction, however, writing in a new note that the deal still makes sense. Our prediction. Can you mute yourself up? Our prediction that Amazon would acquire Target in 2018 was wrong. Andrew Murphy, managing partner at Loop Ventures, wrote at the end of the post published late Thursday at Amazon and Walmart. We continue to believe the combination makes sense. However, because Amazon needs to acquire Target-like footprints, 1,800 stores, in order to continue its growing retail presence, though the timing of the deal is difficult to pinpoint, it would appear an acquisition could get done between now and 2021, Muster told Business Insider in an interview on Friday. Such a deal would pose a threat to Walmart, which has more than 5,000 stores in the U.S., and the vast majority of which are Walmart supercenters. Munster said Amazon acquiring Target would accelerate an existing threat to Walmart. A Target acquisition would allow Amazon to compete more effectively in product design and merchandising areas Murphy believes is lacking. It would bolster Amazon's foray into brick and mortar, he said, with in-store element like curation and experience. Amazon acquired Whole Foods for $13 billion in 2017. Amazon isn't great at product design. Amazon Fire Phone and even Amazon.com or Echo lineup. You're right about that. And retail stores are products, he wrote, pointing to an unsavory review of Amazon's 4-star store in the New York Times. Let me read the last few paragraphs. Getting the timing correct is difficult, and every business day that passes, it becomes 0.38% less likely that our prediction comes to fruition, he wrote. That said, we remain adamant that this combination makes sense. Specifically, he noted that the two retail powerhouses are pursuing similar demographics, and he believes Amazon still needs to capture physical retail space. The company, based in Seattle, is considering opening as many as 3,000 cashierless stores across the country by 2021, Bloomberg reported in September. Still, Munster said such a push would be microscopic compared to what they need to do to be a global leader in commerce more broadly. We talked about this about a week or so ago. Amazon would acquire Sears. Now, the article that we were discussing was that stated that there's a dark horse bidder for the rest of Sears holdings. So we won't know that until December 15th. Today is the 14th. Somebody is going to buy Sears or at least a leading competitor to Sears. I've stated, I'm on record saying that it was Amazon. It's got to be Jeff Bezos.
Yeah, I have to second you, Dollar. Big wow, because that was last week. That was our first article last week, Mike. We talked about, and that you brought up an excellent point because, like we mentioned, you have I think it was 500 Sears stores that they were talking about this new investing agency trying to stay alive. But we mentioned Jeff Bezos can get these brick and mortar stores at a cheaper price. It's 500, and like you said, these Sears are located in areas that's populated.
Not
So,
not just Sears, but Kmart as well.
Yeah, Kmart too, and that includes Super Kmart. A lot of the Super Kmarts are next to Walmart or in the vicinity of Walmart and Target and other places. And here in Chicago, they are in the vicinity of also a lot of these because in the suburbs around Chicago, you have or business centers. So you have a lot of like Menards, Home Depot. So they're in that vicinity also. But now this Target is a direct competitor to Walmart. So just by them saying that Amazon purchasing Target won't be a competition to Walmart it is a direct competition to Walmart. They try and do some Jedi mind tricks, but it's not working. So, like you said, Amazon is rolling out that cashierless system. This is big. Amazon is getting bigger. I think Amazon is more of a legitimate $1 trillion company than Apple is.
The game isn't over. The game is just starting. Like I said earlier, we talked in the
Agreed.
show. I said when the economy slow down and you have these companies with a lot of money like Apple and Amazon, they start buying stuff. and the Whole Foods idea was a great idea because it got Amazon into the consumer staple sector. Because when the economy slows down, the money moves from tech and traditional retail to staples like food. Okay, and so that allows Amazon as the premier retailer to get into an area of growth when retail is absolutely slowing down and going to lead the decline of the contraction in this economy. So I thought the Whole Foods idea was smart. And then when you say that Amazon is considering buying Sears plus Kmart, to me, Sears plus Kmart equals Target because Target has a grocery section too. Sears does not, but Kmart does. So Sears plus Kmart is essentially Target, but Target has a stronger brand name, whereas Sears and Kmart in the marketplace, I don't think people perceive or have a high opinion of those brands, or nowhere near as high of the opinion as people have of, say, Target. So, and
Yeah, Target.
I would really like to know, how likely is it that all of this buying is going on without Mr. Buffett? Mr. Buffett has got to have something to say.
Hey, you know what, Mike? You mentioned him last week.
Yeah, absolutely. Anybody. I mean, Dollar Will's a seasoned guy, but anybody who's listening to this and probably watching this should understand that these are juggernauts fighting for what's what little real estate is left in the retail market. We already saw Circuit City bite the bullet years ago. Radio Shack bit the bullet already, and these were electronics companies, or electronics resellers. So you're starting to see a convergence of a one-stop shop for everything. Even now, I think Stop and Shop, at least up here, Stop and Shop has liquor licenses. They sell liquor inside their stores now. So Amazon, not Amazon, Whole Foods has liquor licenses now as well, which was something that previous times, you go back 10 to 15 years ago, that was uncommon. It was uncommon up here for a supermarket to carry alcohol and stuff like that. So now you're starting to see even Walgreens. There's a super Walgreens now. So Walgreens is starting to sell, groceries and stuff like that. I know in Boston we have one super Walgreens where it looks like it's bigger than Target.
Now, let me bring back some points that we mentioned last week on the Sears article. I know most Sears are the standalone ones are multi-floored. Not all of them, but most of them. And the ones that are connected to malls, you say they're multi-floored. They are multi-floored also. So in that last week, you mentioned how Amazon could floor space off and sell it as that, have wholesalers come in and sell their merchandise. Now, let's say Amazon does go ahead and purchase Target. Will they keep it the same? Will they, because more,
No.
okay, because they more, they kind of left Whole Foods the same.
Well,
You
because
know what?
Whole Foods operates off a different model. Amazon integrated itself into Whole Foods as opposed to changing the whole entire branding.
I see
So
what you're saying.
yeah, the branding is what people trust about Whole Foods, and they don't like change. That demographic doesn't like change. But if you go into any Whole Foods, you'll see that there's kiosk and stuff for Amazon and Instacart and all that stuff all set up, as well as Amazon Prime. If you have your Amazon Prime member, then you get a lot of benefits from shopping at Whole Foods. So go ahead, Doggo.
Yeah, I'm just running through the sequence of events. Okay, Amazon became online retail king. Okay, Walmart, brick and mortar, they beefed up their online presence. And their online offerings look pretty good. And they also have the advantage of offering you in-store pickup. You can also some items you can go and see it in the store. You can order it online. So I think to see the future or the retail presence of Amazon, all you have to do is walk into a Walmart. I think they're gonna be very similar, offer the same types of services. Because Walmart has a lot of things that are online only, that's not in this, not in the store, but you can have it delivered to Walmart.
But I don't see Walmart like that. I understand they are doing it to keep up with the competition, but I don't see Walmart like that.
Oh, I bought a lot of things from them that way.
Yeah,
I've been just as comfortable buying from Walmart as Amazon.
I've purchased some things from Walmart online, not a few things, but I just don't see them that way.
Yeah, you're thinking of them as brick and mortar
Right,
only. But see, in the great twist, Amazon is now posturing itself to be like Walmart, as Walmart was probably had to catch up to Amazon to have an online presence. So I think they're going to look a lot alike, but it's just that Amazon is a lot bigger.
Let's let me look at the chat and read off some of these comments. Jesse says, I wonder what retail will be like in 10 years' time. It's going to be cashierless. That's what it's going to be like. You walk into a store, and the only way you can get in there is if you're a member, basically.
Yeah.
Other than that, if you're not a member, you're going to have to go shop somewhere else.
I think retail in 10 years is going to look like like the Walmart model. There's something about going to a store and touching a product, that's hard. It's hard to compete with a company that offers that. So I think you're going to see much better coordination between online and in store. The way that Walmart and now soon Amazon, they're going to set the standard for what the retail experience is, and everyone in retail is going to have to step up to the plate and try to compete with a standard that Walmart and Amazon that they're going to define, that they're going to create.
Yeah, at one point, people were starting to follow Apple's business model for Apple stores, and that that worked temporarily, and then if you didn't have the product to actually move, then it didn't really matter if you copy Apple's model.
Yeah, I mean, just to be able to say, I don't like this, and take it to Walmart and just return it that way. You're going there anyway. Most of I ain't gonna say most, but many Americans are in a Walmart probably once a week. So you're heading that way. So just take it back to Walmart. So soon you'll be able to just take it back to Amazon.
I remember a point in Chicago. We had a grocery store. Well, it's still here, Joel Osco, and the parking lot of them grocery stores are big, but in one side of the parking lot they had a gas station.
Mhm.
And when they did that, it blew my mind because I wouldn't have put that together. So I say it to say that these places are gonna become not so big, but they're gonna include a lot of things that you can just go there and get everything.
You know what it is? It's Costco. Costco had a gas station. They just never had the online thing, But yeah, Costco had the super center. You could buy tires, go get gas, buy groceries, buy a few clothing items. Costco tried to kind of be everything, be all. So I think only this is going to be for the bigs. The brick and mortar presence is going to be for the bigs.
Dollar Will.
What's happening?
Hey, bro. You know what? I do have a bit of a caveat on what you just said. I think that people my age and your age, I tend to agree with what you're saying, but I think for these millennials, 20 to 30 years from now, I think that, retail will be more of more online based cashierless. I mean, yeah, nothing beats going into a physical store and touching it and being able to take the product back. But we're used to that. We were born with that. We grew up with that. So I think if you look longer out, 30 to 40 years, that just may be the way things will be. That you will see much less brick and mortar stores, or it'll be more of a like a for lack of a better term, a regional warehouse. Okay, where for like hundreds of square miles, there's this one location. If for whatever reason it serves as a like Amazon now has these physical location warehouses where they box everything up from. You'll have one of those, but you know what? I think long term, retail will totally change from what we're accustomed to now.
Oh, I definitely agree, but I think there's certain things are not going to change. Like humans, there's a human need. We have a need, just like we're on social media now. People have it's a biological need for us to interact with each other. It's like even
We're
in this
social
streaming,
beings.
we're social beings. We go to the movies now, even when people could steal it online for free, but we have a need to be with each other, so we go to the movies. We like going shopping. You have a need for. But your main theme that there will be less. I absolutely agree, but I also believe that big companies with the money, they will always try to outdo what offer something that the smaller companies cannot do. But that is that big physical real-time experience. So it's going to be both. So the whales they're gonna run it, and they're gonna have that store, that destination that you go to every week. They're going to create reasons to make you leave your home to go to that store for that impulse purchase. They know that's a part of human human psychology that companies are going to want to capitalize off too. That impulse purchase, nothing beats that.
Well,
Impulse.
that only
Go ahead.
works to a certain extent. You're seeing it now. Best Buy had to go through this struggle a few years ago, that people would actually come to the store just to see the product, and then they'll go on Amazon on their phone and go buy it, right? And then it came to a point where they just wouldn't even come into the store. So Best Buy tried to match the same prices that Amazon had in stores. So they got desperate to that point to bring buyers back into the store. So I think what Paul is saying is that millennials are looking at it differently than how Gen Xers and baby boomers did in the past, where they had, you had your Caldors and your Woolworths and stuff like that you went in to go and touch the device, and then have that ease of bringing it back. But people don't really care about that anymore, because you have UPS, FedEx that are willing to come pick up that TV, whether it's 65 inches or 40 inches, and take it back same day with no cost. Amazon or whatever online vendor is willing to ship you 2 day a 2 day delivery of the same product. So if you bought a 65-inch TV, they'll ship you another one, just as fast.
Exactly. And listen, that's the exact point that I'm trying to make. Because, all right, myself, I'm Gen X, all right? I'm in my mid 40s. To me, honestly, I love it and I use it, but the internet, when I was a kid, it was science fiction. Cell phones, that was science fiction. Now you have Netflix, social media, um, Amazon, all of these things that we live with now, okay, they literally did not exist 30 years ago. All right. So all I'm saying is long term, 30 to 40 years from now, I really think that retail as we know it now will barely will I'm not going to say 30 to 40 years it's going to be gone, but I think 30 to 40 years from right now, it's going to be a shadow of what it is now. You won't even recognize it. That really, as the millennials and even the ones who are actually kids now, the world that they're going to live in 30, 40 years from now, the big box retail stores, they're on their way out. Things are going to change.
I'm a,
I, I,
I'm gonna have to agree with Dollar Wheel on this one. I understand what you all are saying. Ease in shopping online. I do it all the time. But human nature, men like women, women like men. They want to go see these people, no matter how much we talk about each other. Is that human nature is going to come in? I'm not saying that the need to be social creatures will subvert the ease of shopping online. I'm saying it's going to be both.
Not necessarily. That only works in theory, but in practice, that's what Sears was finding, that they weren't getting the same traffic, so that's why they had to shut down a lot of their stores.
well, here,
Best Buy had the same issue a few years ago, that Amazon was killing them because people were just buying their TVs online. When you have a store that has 100,000 feet in 100,000 square feet in retail space, you have to pay for all of that. And Best Buy is going through a restructuring right now where they don't know what to do with all their retail space, because it's underutilized. But from one of the landlords I spoke to at some of these plazas, Best Buy is paying anywhere between $35,000 to $40,000 a month in rent. They're not turning enough revenue to actually make the quota.
Well,
And
I agree with what you guys are saying, and in a broad sense. But when it comes to the mighty kings, the Amazons and the Walmart, it's gonna look like it does right now. They're not going nowhere because let's go back to the article you read. They're playing on the biological level when they decide to have a store that has food in it. Okay, you go into that Walmart and you're going to go to that Whole Foods, and it's not going to stop with just those two chains. I believe we're going to see more of this. You're going to see Amazon buy up other grocery stores, not just Walmart, because the food is going to be the reason you walk in that store, and you're going to come back every week. And while you a Target, Target, or correct. So the food is why you're gonna come there every week, and then while you're there, you're gonna see that big screen TV. Okay, they're gonna have us room for you to go listen to some speakers, and you're gonna see other things while you're there. That's how they're gonna survive. But everybody, all these retailers are not going to be able to play at that level, and so you're right. The carnage is going to be, substantial, because only those big players like Walmart, Amazon, will be able to survive on that level.
Let me read this guy's comments some more. Jesse says, "Do you think Amazon will eventually be forced to split up into smaller companies?" That only matters if Amazon monopolizes certain segments. So right now, in terms of PC computing and cloud computing, they're not monopolizing that part of the market to themselves. They have competition from Microsoft and a couple other vendors. So that's not an area of concern for them. It's only when they start monopolizing areas that people are dependent upon.
And with regard to the stores, you got Walmart, you got Costco, probably ain't still gonna be around. So it may be enough competition where they can stave off that kind of criticism. We'll see.
Well, government regulation only steps in. Exactly like what Mike said. When you monopolize, or you're about to step into the point where you become a monopoly, like very few guys here can even know what I'm about to say, but when AT&T was broken up into the seven so-called baby bells, that was a violation of the Taft-Hartley Act. When you monopolize any one specific market, the government will break you up. Time Warner Cable, and I think it was Cox, were trying to merge, and that was number one and number two. Government said no, that can't happen. So until Amazon completely corners a market where they become an actual monopoly, the government will not force them to break up. And that's basically the only way that I can see from a regulatory standpoint that Amazon will be forced to be broken up.
Right. I mean, look, didn't we just have didn't Disney just buy Fox?
They bought certain segments of Fox.
Yeah, they bought 20th Century Fox, the movie studio.
Oh, okay.
They bought the movie studio, which was
not the broadcaster. Gotcha. Okay.
Correct.
Let me read this other comment. Andy asks, probably this is the best time to buy Amazon shares. I don't know, man. Amazon shares are pretty expensive, in my opinion.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are.
No, I wouldn't do it. Not right now. One, they're in retail, and that's ground zero for where all the carnage is gonna happen. That they're gonna suffer the most.
Yeah, and we are not certified financial planners. Please see a CFP. Go to CFP.net and find one in your local area and your zip code. Don't ask us for any financial advice ever again, please.
If I offer it, it's just my opinion. I'm just a YouTuber.
And opinions are like a-holes,
Everybody's got one.
And they think. Jesse asks, speaking of Amazon, do you guys think it's worth getting certification in AWS? Come back tomorrow night and we'll talk about that again. We're having an Black IT talk tomorrow. So.
And if you're not in IT, come back anyway. I enjoy it. I'm able to follow it. It's fascinating. You guys need to come check it out, even if you're not in IT.
Yeah. Jesse asks again, do you think there will be technology that will mimic the sensations of products such as fabric. Yeah, I don't.
Talking
Yeah,
about.
I think that.
Hey, what's going on, C Boogie? Anyways, let's get to this one last article, and then we'll get back to looking at the charts for Target and whatnot.
What's this last one? I'm sorry. Bitcoin, Ethereum, Bitcoin, gold. I don't understand. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So this next one is from Telesur English. President Maduro proposes the Petro as Alba's currency. Now, actually, let me read the caption. Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro and other leaders arrive in Cuba to attend the summit of the Bolivarian Alliance of the Peoples of America. Oh, so that's what ALBA stands for. So what they're talking about, this is very gutsy move. What President Maduro is talking about is making the Venezuelan Petro a one currency for all Latin America.
That's a big boy move. That's a big boy move right there.
Now, what this would do for countries like Cuba, Nicaragua, and things like that, it would actually lift these people out of poverty because there's only one currency for them to actually use. And if the currency is being backed by oil and diamonds and gold and other rare minerals, it actually makes it much stronger. But it also makes Venezuela a huge target for military intervention. The last time a country tried to create their own currency in Africa was Libya, and we saw what happened with that, with the golden dinar. You gentlemen have anything you want to add to that?
That would make Venezuela stronger if that were to be adopted. That would make Venezuela stronger.
Well, it also makes them the center of economic power.
In the Latin American world.
Right.
Yeah.
It's been proven to work that if a strong U.S. dollar has actually lifted, let's say, Puerto Rico to a higher standard, and it also lifts other countries too that have adopted the dollar as a currency for trade. So,
especially if other countries in the Latin American world is able to trade their oil, diamonds, and any other natural resources that they can get to back the Petro, traded fairly. That also strengthens their economy. This is a big boy move.
Paul Bryant, you have anything you want to add? Must be away. Dollar Will, do you have the ability to pull up any charts or anything like that, or would you like us to do it?
I was gonna when you kick it to me to go through some charts, I'll do it. But what is it that you want in particular?
Well, I figure we just look at the major retailers that we were talking about. Amazon, Target, Best Buy, Walmart. We'll look at those symbols.
Okay. Let me go ahead and talk about something else. Give me a chance to throw it up.
All right.
All right. Oh, we can talk about that last topic.
Retail.
That Bitcoin thing. I forgot the name of it. I forgot the name. But long story short, I was looking at videos, and this I'm trying to bring it while I talk, and it's not working. I'm trying to stall. But this
the state of Bitcoin.
Yes. It's they just a consulting. Well, they are a consulting company, and they released a report on the state of Bitcoin, the future of Bitcoin, and where they think it may go. It's a good read. It links it straight to their website, and you can read it. It's a good read. Yes.
Okay, so can you guys see this?
Well, let me stop sharing my screen first.
Oh, I thought I had it. Okay.
You go right ahead.
Are you able to see my screen?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm always talking about, just to make this real simple, today's theme is bearish engulfing pattern. We always talk about it. This is just the quickest, dirtiest way concept that you need to learn when you're trying to see a chart at a glance and what's going on. Let's say, imagine this one here would be like a green. They use white and black, and so instead of green and red a lot of times. So this would be like imagine this was the former high, a green candlestick. Then you get a red one or black one, negative. You're looking at the body here, the white body versus this black body. This black body totally engulfs this white body. That's a bearish engulfing pattern. Okay, that's just to go through that concept. I'm gonna run through these real quick. This is the S&P 500. The current trend that we are on started in 2009. Neatly fits into this channel. This is the we're looking at a quarterly chart. I like to look at the quarterly chart because look at this. If you look at it on a daily, you know, it's like what the heck it just takes too much to figure out what the heck is going on. In fact, it doesn't even go far enough back. Let me see what weekly. So just to cut to the chase, and everybody knows I'm an Elliott wave theory trader. I like to, I can get my wave count. Like, what is that? I mean, you know, you sitting here trying to count this, and it gets too confusing. So at a glance, I go to monthly or quarterly. The only site I know of that gives you quarterly charts is this one, barcharts.com. That's why I'm always here. As you can see, since 2009, this run that we were on, this red candlestick, which is this quarter, it's the biggest candlestick in the entire what's that, 9-year run. We're 2009, so 2019 would be a decade, you know, of this bull run. That's pretty long for as far as bull runs go. So we got a big red engulfing, bearish engulfing candlestick for the S&P 500. And so the size of this also gives you an indication about the volume as well. So that's serious. So it's just a concept. I'm trying to let you see at a glance what's going on. There's no reason to step in and try to save this. Okay. Now, a bullish engulfing would be if a green candlestick came and it engulfed the body of the red. Now you could take this concept and you could be looking at a 1-minute chart, a 5-minute chart, a 1-hour chart, a daily chart. If you just put like trend lines on it and remember this engulfing candlestick concept, that will allow you to know, okay, big money has either fled this thing to cause it to go down in this bearish engulfing candlestick, and in the reverse, big money has stepped in to save the day. So until I see some engulfing counter move on Bitcoin and this other stuff, same thing here. This is the Dow quarterly chart. Same thing, bearish engulfing. Okay, Ethereum we were talking about early. Daily chart. I don't like messing with this. I run straight to the monthly or quarterly. Okay, fine. Now I could take or you can take just a trend line and put it here. Or, you know, this is my chart. I can do what I want. Sometimes just to make it easier, I just do it there to make it simple. Until I see that, as long as I see the price respecting this resistance, there's no reason to jump in. Especially since I don't see a candlestick that's a bullish engulfing candlestick to stop this pattern. Usually what happens, you get the engulfing candlestick and then the price pulls back. So although you see the candlestick, that doesn't mean you're too late. It usually pulls back a little bit, so you always have time to get in. So we fight our instinct to try to predict the bottom. That's where we lose money, when you're trying to like outsmart the market and try to be early. It's better to come after the fact when big money has come in. Okay, so how far might this thing go? Let's see. So what I'm doing here is I'm looking at this horizontal part of this, and I'm trying to see where natural support and resistance is. Okay, so we kind of at one here. So I would pay attention to this, kind of see what it does right in here. This would be a good time where, as we see this range getting narrower, like I discussed earlier. This is pretty narrow. So this would be a time when I would start to pay attention. I wouldn't necessarily jump in and say now, because we still don't have a bullish engulfing candlestick, but this is pretty close. This range is pretty narrow. So, and this is just from today. So I would keep your eyes on this. So not yet. All that to say, not yet. I like my monthly, so I can. This was the B wave I was talking about. A, B, C, and we're pretty low here. But hey, I'm not trying to outguess this thing. Come back next week. If we get an engulfing candlestick pattern, we'll let you know here on the brain trust. You won't be too late. Okay, what we got here is gold. Gold is still stuck in this channel. The stochastic here is showing me A, B, and it looks like it's trying to cross the start of C. I predict we're going to have a nasty gold decline. Okay, I'm calling this wave one all the way back. This candlestick is 1980. The high is $850. I don't think we're going to go below that. That would be real surprise. So somewhere, anything around the $900 level, 925 to 900. That's to my thinking fair game. We'll see how it goes. I really believe this stochastic here on the quarterly chart is giving us the wave count right here. A, B. We got to do a C. That's my theory. I'm sticking to it. Okay, so that's what's going on with gold. This is a scary chart I've been watching for a long time. This is a quarterly chart of Exxon, biggest oil company, one of the biggest oil companies in the world. This looks like we got a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We coming down. The stochastic looks like it's getting ready to, this fast line looks like it's getting ready to go negative over the slower line. I really strongly believe oil is going to give up the ghost and crash through this line. This line the support has been running since 2002. That's going to set off those automated computers if you hit this daggone trend line that's violated. And I believe it's going to happen. So we'll see what's going on with that too. I'm going to show you oil thing. What was it? It was an oil futures thing. A January options contract. That's what I wanted to show you. This is the quarter. This quarter is what? October, November, December. Quarter is 3 months. So the current 3 months starting from October 1. This is how much weakness there is for the January contract for oil. Nasty. So keep your eyes on Exxon. Now we can talk about Amazon. I think that's what you wanted to look at. I just had to run through that other fun stuff. This is a big nasty one. Okay, this is the quarterly chart for Amazon. Definitely meets the qualification for bearish engulfing. Okay, let me scroll down a little bit more. Let's see. The good news is it didn't break this trend line. So I can't, as much as I have to fight my own instinct to cheerlead for this thing to go down. I would call this A, B, and I think we're going to have a C wave. We'll see though. I don't have a stochastic up for this. Let's see. remember how to put the day on stochastic. Slow stochastic is the one I like when I have a choice. Okay, yeah. We are still, anything over 80 is considered overbought. I can't consider us having really made a correction until we have a deeper sell-off. That's why I'm saying I would not mess with Amazon, because it's in retail, and retail is like ground zero for the correction. So I wouldn't mess with it. Let's see. So this is a monthly chart. The stochastic is pointing down. So this is, the momentum is heading down in terms of our sell pressure. I wouldn't try to catch this. So in these 1, 2, 3, 4 months, the last 4 months, you only had one positive month. That's not encouraging. I would not try to save. I would not step in and be a hero. Okay, now the next one was what, Walmart? Is that the other one you said, Mike?
Yeah, I said Walmart, Target, Amazon, Best Buy.
Walmart, Target. Okay. Wow, see, they look similar there, don't they? A, B, a C is coming. Okay. This black line is the fast line in this case, and it's below this orange line. Momentum is, as long as the fast line is below the slow line, you have to consider that the bias is negative. You don't try to get ahead of it. And this is on a quarterly chart, so it's going to take 3 months for this thing to update. All right, this is not encouraging. Now, just to check myself, this is also why I'm not a day trader. God, it would drive me crazy. What I also see here, I can argue against what I just said and say, hey, until it violates this trend line, we could be good, because it did not create a lower low on this candlestick. And in fact, it went higher, and it went higher here. So I could see how someone that's bullish could say, hey, as long as this trend line is intact, they're going to hang in there with it. So I'm sure some are going to argue that. Now, Walmart being a grocery store, let's see, I'm sure there's an ETF for Walmart. What's weird about them is they're kind of mixed. They got grocery stuff in there, and they also got regular retail stuff that's going to get hit hard. The consumer staples sector, which is where you usually run at this time, they have some fat, okay, in that sector. There's some a great deal of things in that consumer staples sector are overbought, and they're likely to come down. Not a lot. There's going to come a point where that consumer staples sector is going to continue to rise, while the S&P and Dow is likely to continue to fall. But at this particular moment, with this, let me look at it on a monthly and go down to a weekly and see what that looks like too. Yeah, see, that's pretty nasty, and it's still negative. It's still negative pressure. But like I said, a bullish person could say, they could argue that they're going to hold their position until this trend line is violated. I wouldn't, but your financial advisor will probably tell you to hold on. I wouldn't. Let's see. Okay, now I'm looking at it on a weekly, and it is technically it's oversold on the weekly. Now that would feed the argument that to hold on, but I would wait until I get across here. I would put a trend line here from here to here until I see a trend line violation or something. Then I wouldn't jump in to try to save it. So Walmart is one of those that's likely going to not participate in a steep decline, likely. So at some point, I'm expecting to see some strength in Walmart, Whole Foods, those types of things. But that doesn't mean that they can't or that they won't participate in a minor decline. Because I believe that's what's going to happen. I believe that the consumer staples, and when you see those big 700-800 point days, look at come to this site, and you can look up the different industries. Let me see, or you can pull up the ETFs, and the ETFs would show you, they would break down the different major ETFs. You can click on that and it would show you all the different industries of ETFs. And if you see them all down, that's how you get those huge days, because that's a broad decline over many different industries. But I'm saying that's not going to continue for the duration of this correction. The consumer staples are gonna have a minor pullback, whereas these bigger retailers like Amazon, because they although they own Whole Foods, the majority of what they sell is electronics and books and things like that. And that's like, ground zero. That's right up there with your JC Penney's, especially your Coach and your luxury consumer items and status, a name for clothing, your Nike and all of them. They gonna get it. Let's see. Now you said Best Buy. And what is that? Is that it? Yeah. And they pure retail. Nobody got time to be buying no electronics when they don't even know if they're gonna be laid off. Okay. Let me go to a bigger view. See? Yeah, that's what I like to see. Does that really require an explanation? This is a chart all the way back to 1990. And so we're close to the 2020 right now. So we're looking at about 30 years of chart information.
Mm-hmm.
Do you see any candlestick in 30 years that look like this big sucker that we in right here? Nothing compares in 30 years to the size of this big sucker we in right here. Now, that's all you don't need to no deep analysis there to let you know that there's something going on. There's more negativity right now than you've seen in 30 years. That's a lot of people saying, get out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let me see something here. I like to look at the channel. Go ahead, Mike.
No, I was just going to say that that's indicative of something. At least in terms of Best Buy, right? They're largely known for their foot traffic and not for their online traffic. If people want to buy something, they just go straight to Amazon and just buy it from there. One click. Plus, they have Amazon Prime and they get it shipped the same day.
Right.
When it comes to Best Buy, you don't have that option, right? Sometimes it's available, sometimes it's not. You might have to wait. That doesn't work for today's modern consumer. They want instant gratification, and they want the ability to actually scan a QR code and see what the lowest price is through their Google search, through their algorithms, and then buy it from there.
Right.
Different
Yeah. See, this is scary. I wouldn't mess with it. You got deeply overbought on a quarterly stochastic. It's already flipped. The size of this candlestick, this is like throwing in the towel. We're talking about a run that took from the fourth quarter of 2017. We're in the fourth quarter of 2019 now. So that took a year. So we lost a year in these 3 months. We lost 1 year. So some, a lot of long-term investors, buy and hold investors, they took a year to accumulate all of this, and they dumped it in 3 months. Now, what does that tell you? That's not very encouraging. So,
and Best Buy hasn't made any acquisitions, to my knowledge, in the last couple of years. I think the last major acquisition they made was no, it wasn't Magnolia. I don't think they've made any major acquisitions.
See, I would call Best Buy they would be a pure play retailer, pure play electronics retailer. It's really nothing else in there. No other reason to go in there if you don't want something electronics related. So if the macro economy doesn't favor electronics, they gonna get it. They gonna get it bad. Let me see. So one other thing.
Now,
go ahead.
No, I was just going to say that the rumors were before is that Best Buy may open up their retail space for selling electric vehicles.
Oh, okay.
So to make up for the loss of all that underutilized floor space, it would have to be replaced with something like electric vehicles.
Yeah, but we're not buying those vehicles right now.
Well, you may not be buying it now, but what happens if Best Buy decides they're going to go into car sharing, or if Best Buy decides they can put it on take a hedge or take a risk and put that on their Best Buy credit card and decide, well, I can't afford to go down to Mercedes and get the latest one or a Tesla. Let me stop at Best Buy and see if I can get this old Chinese knockoff.
I guess I'm thinking the timing of that. If keeping with my opinion that this is a bad time for retailers. Mm-hmm. A car is pretty big ticket item. Pretty big ticket item. People not gonna want to go out and take on a auto loan right now. That's a big commitment. You have to be in a pretty positive frame of mind about your employment prospects and your financial stability for the next 7 years, 5 to 7 years when you go buy a car. And so if Best Buy was to do that at this point in time, that could be disastrous for them at this moment. Mm-hmm. At this moment. But it's hopefully, I mean, this is where bigger companies that have deep pockets that made, they've made a lot of money, they try to weather the storm. If they don't have enough money to survive the downturn, that's when you get your Jeff Bezos and your Warren Buffetts come in and buy them up. Mm-hmm. So I'm a technical trader, but a fundamental trader, they would go and look at the debt of Best Buy and look at the cash that they have to see if Best Buy could survive a downturn in, say, top line sales for a prolonged period of time, if they would have the revenue to be able to like service their debt and all that. That's what fundamental traders look at to try to pick out who is likely gonna bite it. But just like we had some big banks fold, and we've seen, the death of Circuit City and Radio Shack, it's going to be some big name we know. There's going to be some more big names we know that's going to bite it. They're not going to be around. because this, if we're right about this particular downturn, that if this is the big one, that it will be on par with the quote Great Depression degree of decline. That's much worse than what we experienced from say 2007 to 2009. That we talking something on a whole another order greater than that. And so we're going to have a good number of names we know that's just not going to be around. So I was just trying to take a peek at this is a quarterly chart of Chipotle, because Chipotle they make burritos, and burritos have a lot of agricultural products, a lot of food products, a lot of basic food products. And on this quarterly chart, they bit the dust, and this has got a positive swing to it. They made a higher high right here. They have you got 4 green candlesticks. Everything's looking up. And so I'm gonna have to do a little bit more research in this food section. So this is kind of what I'm saying, that at some point in time, Walmart has got it looks like on that chart it's got to come down some more. But at some point it's gonna become a place to go. It's gonna get to a point of being oversold on a long-term chart, like a quarterly chart here. It's gonna become a place to go. Like I wouldn't bet against this trend here with Chipotle. So this is gonna make me look at some more food stuff. So in the coming weeks on the Brain Trust, we're gonna as well as talking about the tech stuff, because that's where our money is, and people are having to get their money out of there. It's gonna take us a while to stop being so focused on technology, but we're gonna look at these boring stocks like Chipotle, Clorox, and like Procter and Gamble, because there's no need to panic. There are other places to invest, and all these boring companies that that we run from to put our money in tech. But there's a time to be in these boring companies. But I just wanted to look at Chipotle. Next week I'm gonna work in a couple more of these. But is there any other text? What's the other one now? What's the other one that you talk about a lot?
You mean AMD?
Dang, wow, man, you good. That's it. That's exactly the one I was thinking of. That's exactly what I was thinking of. Let me go to a longer view. See, all those, I can't deal with all them little squiggles. Let me just, there you go. Let me get to something. I'll go a little smaller for this one. Let me see I got to get my stochastic. I think I did have it here where I can. There you go. I don't know why I didn't do that earlier. Okay, so even on a daily chart, we see it's got negative pressure on the stochastic. I wouldn't trust it. Now, this is where a lot of that doesn't look too bad on a weekly. Okay, I have to look at this a little more.
No, they're gonna bounce back in 2019. Their new products will be hitting the market, and plus some new partnerships will take place.
Yeah, see, I got to look at this some more. So I'm getting one thing on a weekly and a different thing on a monthly. I gotta do some deeper study on this chart.
Yeah,
I do see it making higher highs here. So I can't just assume that it's negative. I got it's making higher highs, which is positive. I mean, higher lows. I mean, that's trending up. So I have to study this some more.
Yeah, what's impacting AMD stock right now is Intel's offering. So there's been some mumblings by your people in the market saying that Intel's latest product is going to usurp AMD stuff. So that's what's driving a lot of the negativity for AMD. It's more about speculation than anything else.
See, this brings tears to me, man. This is like, man, I had so much money back at this point in time.
Mhm.
This was the tech bubble right here.
2015.
This is 2000, year
Okay.
2000. This
Yeah.
peak is AMD has never returned to this point.
Yeah, they were
Yeah.
doing good. They were doing good. They had a good product out, the Athlon and the Opteron. So they had a very good product at the time.
So yeah, I gotta study this because this thing is all over the place. So when I look at it on this quarterly here, it looks bad. When I look at it on, meaning that the stochastic is flipped over and it's still trending, the fast line is trending below the slow line. That's on the quarterly. Now on the monthly, it has flipped and is weakness here. But on the weekly, it looks like it's ready to do something. So I have to study this some more. This is see, then the daily. So really, all of them look bad except the weekly.
Mm-hmm.
So that's not too encouraging. So no, yeah, I'm gonna have to look at this some more. But I'm not. But this is a time for tech to have a little pullback here. I think tech is going to participate in this downturn with everything else. But I'm surprised that AMD did not make a new high. Let me see if Intel. What did they do? Relative to that, the 2000. And then I'm going to look at just the NASDAQ, just in general, just to see. Go to my quarterly, stop messing around, get right to it. Wow, same thing. That was the best of times right there. And the NASDAQ is probably the same. ETF. Oh, we see we know that's keeping with the theme of the day, the bearish engulfing candlestick. We see that. Okay, quarterly. I'm trying to go back. Oh well, okay. Well, the NASDAQ did make a new high. Okay. So see, back in the 2000s, semiconductors ruled. That's what the semiconductors and some of your Cisco, your routers, servers, Juniper. Back in the 90s, the word was fiber optic. We kept hearing about this thing called fiber optic, and the companies that were laying all the fiber optic cables, which basically became Verizon Network, that's where the money was. They took off. But we see the NASDAQ did make a new high, but Amazon and Intel didn't participate in it. So that's probably Apple and driving this.
Well, it's also product life
and Google. I'm sorry, and Google driving this.
Yeah, it was also product life cycle development time. So Apple didn't really come into play at that point until with the G5.
Let's see what they. Oh yeah, look at what Apple did from the 2000, from this little peak. This little peak was we're talking about, looking here on this graph there. We're talking about $5 basically. Good Lord, that was the place to be. At the peak of the daggone tech bubble, here's Apple sitting there at $5. But we've had all types of stock splits and all that stuff to affect that price. But make no doubt about it, when you look at this big red and bearish engulfing candlestick, do you see any candlestick since 2000 that is the same size as this one, red or green? No. That lets you know This time is different. People come on TV talking about, well, you know, it always comes back. Yeah, okay. It never had no decline like that. All these other declines, remember, each one of these candlesticks represents 3 months. So every candlestick is 3 months. It took multiple quarters to have this correction. We still in this 1 quarter. This thing is not messing around. This is not messing around. But hey, if I drew a trend line, it still would be inside the trend line. But I ain't messing with this. I'm not messing with this. I think we're gonna see this stochastic come down to here. That we're gonna get to the oversold level. I think this is it. I think this is the major correction of what I'm calling wave 3, which began after the Great Depression and ended here. Okay, and so this massive correction, I think we're going to see the major indexes revisit the 2009 lows. Now, that's right between your eyes. That's how far dollar will think we're going to fall. I think we're going to take out the last decade. That's going to be painful. You know, so that's my doom and gloom view. But talk to your financial advisor. I'm just some guy on YouTube, you know, spouting off. I'm not certified, registered, nothing. I'm just some guy just a YouTube guy.
Yep. And it's funny that you bring up Apple being $5 at the time of the boom. Gas was also $1 back then too. Less than $1. 79 cents a gallon.
Yeah.
89 cents a gallon.
Whew. Man. I was loaded, man. I was loaded. I was loaded. I didn't know technical analysis. I wasn't even 30. And I had like $250,000. I was, oh man. If I knew technical analysis, I would be on YouTube. I'd be like a crypto multimillionaire. I would have moved on to something else if I had known. Because what had happened was money rotated from technology and that bus, and the money rotated to gold and housing, and so the tech bubble implosion fed or fueled the housing bubble and the gold rush. Gold went sideways for something like 20 years before that breakout. Nobody would think about no gold. It was trading in a channel for like 20 years. But that money has to go somewhere. And here on the Black Brain Trust, we're gonna start looking at this volume across multiple industries, and we're gonna stop focusing just on tech. We're gonna try to find out where's the money going. Because this money does not just go sit on the sideline; it gets rotated to another sector of the economy. So we're gonna find the money. We're gonna find where the money is going. So stay tuned to the Black Brain Trust.
Hey, Paul Bryant, you have anything you want to add?
I'm gonna quit the share.
Lionel Jenkins.
You funny. Nah, I'm just listening.
All right, I think for now we'll probably shut it down. We will be hosting a hangout tomorrow. You can tune in for that, which is episode 109, cybersecurity and data science.
All right. Giggity, giggity.
Later, fam.
All right, have a good one.